say. Oh, now we got more light. There we go. I feel like we're on CBS now. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Bob Gorley with Glenn Neiswonger for podcast number 134. And today is April the 2nd, 2026. Can you start by telling us a little bit about growing up in New Bethlehem?
Basically, I learned how to work from my dad all right. He was a coal miner. Then went from coal mine to being a cement mason. And if you wanted extra money, you had to work for it. I done it one time when I was growing up. I wanted to drive the car. You had to have your own money. Dad wouldn't give it to you. So I found 4 yards to mow. And I mowed 4 yards every week, every 2 weeks, okay, just to drive the car.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Where were the Neiswongers, like generations ago? Where did the Neiswongers come from?
I really can't say, okay. I've never really thought about it and asked questions about it. And my brothers are both dead, and so are my parents, so I really couldn't go there, okay. I'd like to, but I can't.
What's farthest back? Your grandfather, did he live around here, or?
Yeah, he lived okay in above Middle Run there.
Okay.
And where he came from, again, I don't know. My grandmother was a Reddick, okay, I better say that right, okay.
Reddick.
And like I said, my granddad Bill was a Neiswonger, so. And there's a lot of Neiswongers around this area. So.
There sure are.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Okay. What was life like before you entered the military?
Wasn't too bad, okay. Like I said, same idea. I found a job during the summer, okay, before I graduated. Because Mom and Dad didn't have a lot of finances, so I worked at Andrews Lumberyard the summer before to make extra money, okay, to get, and like I said, I couldn't afford to go on a trip then to Washington, D.C., same deal, okay. Like I said, there was 5 kids in our family, and money went for food on the table, as Dad would say, so.
What did you do at Andrews Lumber?
I helped Bud Williams, okay, in the paint shop.
Ah.
There.
All right.
I can give you that much, there.
How did you end up getting in the military? Were you drafted?
I took one step forward, there.
So
Yeah, I got drafted.
you got drafted.
Yes, okay, yeah. So
Okay. Do you remember what your number was?
military number, I don't, all right?
They had like a draft, like on your birthday, they had some type of number for you. No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
All I know went from 1SH from school to 1A. Okay, I do remember that. So I went to school in Pittsburgh.
Okay, and then that's where you got your physical at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then where did you go for boot camp?
Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
And the weather is not too hot down there.
No, it was hot. I went from there to my training for Vietnam. I went to Fort McClellan, Alabama, and it was hot down there. It was hot. But also, same idea. When it's cold down there, nobody's used to it. It was cold, but it wasn't that cold from up here, but it was cold. So.
Okay. What branch did you serve in?
The Army.
The Army. And after Alabama, then where did you go from Alabama to?
I went to California, and I was shipped off from California after that.
So you went Alabama to California, and California straight to Vietnam?
Straight to flight to Vietnam. I don't remember how many hours it was. It was a long flight, so.
And how many people was it the plane completely full?
Yeah, it was a military plane, okay. Basically, okay, I'd say it's full of military personnel. So.
When you got to Vietnam, how did that
Okay, my experience of going into Vietnam was like, wow. When I got off the plane over there, it was 100 and, I'd say 101, 102. It was like Pennsylvania to 101, 102. It was like a furnace hitting you in the face. It was hot. But then again, that's what it was over there. So
And where were you originally stationed at when you got to Vietnam?
I started out in Chu Lai. Then I went from Chu Lai to Duc Pho, then to Duc Pho to Firebase 411. There.
So, what were some of the challenges that you were faced with when you first got there?
Learning how to put in perspective where you're at now and where you came from. It was a big change going Pennsylvania to a war zone. It was like a pie hitting you in the face.
What type of language do they speak?
Most of them spoke Vietnamese, all right.
And could you understand any Vietnamese?
In the company I had, we had one interpreter. Then later on, okay, we had to get two interpreters. If you had a heavy battle with bigger villages, you need more than one interpreter to interpret what they were trying to tell us.
What was a memorable story you had from being over there?
Memorable story.
Was there ever anything humorous over there?
I really didn't have much humor over there. I become more of a very serious person. I'm not exactly humorous today, so I will spring a joke, but I became a different person there.
What? How about somebody you witnessed somebody being heroic, or like you saw some probably miracles over there?
I seen a friend of mine get shot, handling a machine gun, giving us basically fire support. And another seen a friend of mine go out, grab a hold of him with another friend, drag him back, get medical assistance, and he went back over and took the machine gun off. So he returned fire after his friend was shot. So.
How did the experience of serving during that time shape your view of other soldiers? Do you have did you develop some close friendships?
I developed close friendships, but in the group I was at Firebase 411, we meet every 2 years. Okay, like a basic reunion to come together. In our company, there was five platoons in a company.
How big is a platoon?
I'm thinking there were 20 in a platoon, 100 in a company. Okay,
So there's 100 for a company.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And so they meet every 2 years somewhere or another.
Yeah, we go somewhere. Okay, like I said, we're meeting in Virginia this year.
So out of that 100, how many people would show up, roughly?
Okay, my opinion would be doggone, I'd say 70, okay?
Oh, that's a pretty good turnout.
But you got to remember how many people come in my company went out of it in a year's time. As people got wounded and sent away,
injured,
you had to resupply. So you were always making new friends, okay? And that's where basically I come out with, you don't make as many friends because after you lose a friend, you don't make your second group as friends as easy. Because you never know if they were going to be, the next one's okay to leave, so to speak.
What was it like returning home to Bethlehem after your service?
I didn't really talk that much about it. I wouldn't say they disliked you because you're in Vietnam. Let's say you weren't at the top of the list there. I'll put it in that perspective. I have a friend of mine that you come into a lot of times in Chicago O'Hara airport, all right. A lot of my friends got spit on. Okay.
And you never got spit on.
No. Okay.
Did you have your uniform on?
Yes, I did. Okay. So,
Okay.
but like I said, I know a lot that didn't, and I understood it because we were not exactly heroes. Okay. So,
Our country didn't receive Vietnam veterans very kindly. Maybe in Clarion County it was okay,
it seemed like the county was okay, but
some places in the country they didn't like.
no, we were. I wouldn't say scum, but like I said, we weren't on the top of the list.
How difficult of a transition was it back into civilian life?
I don't think job opportunities were as well for us. I think you had to work to get the job, because at one time I made more money, okay, before I went into the service than I did when I come out of the service. Because the job I had, I was an electronic technician. When I come back, they said that you get hired back. Well, I didn't. I had to hunt around to find a job, and I took a job in a plant. And my wages were a lot different than when I went in. So,
Looking back, do you think you had PTSD?
it's possible. But back then, okay, as I tell my doctor now, okay, the VA today is not the same VA back then. Okay? And to me, it wasn't. All right? So,
What was that? How did you navigate through that transition? You know, like,
when I left all the problems that I had, I said I'd never go back. And my first wife talked to me about it. And I said, no, I can't do it. And Jen kept talking to me about it, my second wife, all right? And I finally said, okay, I'll give him one more try. And they've been treating me fair ever since. So
you're talking about your doctor.
my doctor, okay, in the VA, that's my main doctor anymore. I do everything with the VA.
Would you have any desire to go back to Vietnam?
I've had friends that did.
And what was the response?
They got rid of some of their anxiety, okay, by going back. They found our forward fire base, but the only thing is now, okay, is just a lot of grass and trees and the rest of the idea. It's not the same. They basically, they tried to eliminate anything that the United States did in Vietnam. They basically tried to eliminate the problem. They basically buried our forward fire base. They had to find out where it was, and then go to it. And it was basically, like I said, it wasn't there. It was what used to be there, is in their mind. So, and that's what they said they did. Okay, anything America did during the Vietnam War, they tried to make rid of. So,
They tried to make what?
rid of it. Okay.
Okay.
In other words, Firebase 411 was there, and I think they used GPS or something like that to find it, because it was just all grown up and you couldn't even find it anymore. So.
The people that did go back and visit, were they treated okay?
They seem to have been treated all right, okay, yes.
Okay. You've been involved with the American Legion as a chaplain?
Yeah, okay.
All right. What drew you to that role?
Okay. I'm not, okay, and I admit that, a volunteer. Okay? I had a couple of friends of mine in the Legion. They just kept talking to me and talking to me and talking to me. I went, I really don't want to do this, all right? I'm basically a follower, not a leader. I work with a lot of leaders in the Legion, okay, and they're leaders. All right. And finally went, okay, I'll give it a try. And I've been in chaplain ever since. So
What does it mean to serve fellow veterans in that way?
I won't say surprised, but you'll find out a lot of veterans have an amazing amount of faith. And their faith in Christ is what keeps them going. As in me, okay, if you're getting shot at constantly, if you didn't have faith to keep going, the next day you're going to get, again, it may be once a week, it may be once a month, it could be 2 or 3 times a week you're getting ambushed. And you had to lean in your faith to keep you going because, God, is this my day or not? That you'll never know. But your faith keeps you moving forward because you feel like you're fighting for something, then come back to what you come back to, you go, maybe not. But that's what keeps you going, is faith.
Did you ever guess how many shells you shot in your lifetime? Like even at practice and everything else?
Okay. My M16,
Okay.
I shot the riflings out of it.
And that would take maybe 100,000 shots?
It was a lot of ammunition. We were in a firefight, and we weren't hitting the people we were aiming at. And after the firefight, we got out of it, the captain looked at us and went, what's going on here? And we were all shooting at a target, and we weren't hitting it. So they had the barrels checked, and the rifles were on them. They were just shooting sporadically everywhere. So we all got new rifles and had to re-zero them in after that. But it's something that had to be done. You can't get in a firefight and miss your target. So we got new barrels put on the guns. And like you just said, I have no clue how many rounds, but I used to hunt deer. And to think about my .6, okay, shooting the riflings out of it, that would have been amazing. Okay, so.
You helped play a part in creating the Veterans Memorial Park?
Yeah. One of my best things I ever did, and the group I was with, they're all amazing people. And I'll say that here, amazing. So.
What motivated that project?
Putting something in New Bethlehem, okay, for the veterans in the community to look at and go, this is what you can do in America, all right? So.
Tell us about the honor flight you took.
Oh, it was totally amazing. They did everything for us, okay? We had some veterans that could hardly walk, okay, and they weren't going to go. And they said, if they go, we'll make sure, okay, that they have a wheelchair. And we'll take them around. They give them an escort to take them around in a wheelchair. Honor flight is, anybody gets a chance to take honor flight, please do it. It is totally and completely amazing for the veteran.
Tell us what an honor flight is. I wasn't in the military, so what is an honor flight?
It's basically for veterans, okay, and they take them to Washington, D.C., and they show them all the monuments down there. And they get, like I said, give you a person to go with you. If you have any problems, all right, to help take care of you.
And did you fly out of Pittsburgh?
Went by bus.
Oh, they took
We
you
took
by a bus.
2 buses went down, okay?
Okay.
So, and like I said, it was well worth what I did and what I got to see. We went to all the memorials down there, and like I said, it one full day. And like I said, if anybody gets a chance to go, should go. They'll get a new perspective on life in the military. So.
You've spoken or been involved in Memorial Day services and other local events What message do you hope younger generations take away from these comments?
Memorial Day services are for the veteran, all right?
Okay.
And when I come back from Vietnam, I made the comment at the time that I could have kissed the earth that I was walking on. And then to think how many lives, lost so that I could do this. To me, being in a memorial ceremony is the only place I would want to be on that day. Because in any history you look at, America's always fought for something better. And if you don't think you have something better, you need to leave and come back. You'll see what you really have.
Your faith seems to be a central part of your life as you come to prayer breakfast and other local events.
Yeah.
What message do you hope younger generations take away with this? Are you trying to get people to come to prayer breakfast or anything?
People should always come to prayer breakfast, but my cliche is you can open the door, but you can't push them in. Christ should be the center of every person's life. And after you've almost been killed, more than once, you better have your faith, because God never promised you tomorrow.
So you're saying your military experience strengthened your faith?
Oh, definitely, amen, yes. I said, if you're sitting here, right now, I have watched a mortar go off, and you don't hear a mortar coming in. And all of a sudden, you know when that mortar goes off, somebody in your area is going to die, because that was the target. And I've said before, I think I actually became part of dirt at the time. That's what part of the ground, I was on. I think the dirt and me was practically one, because that was it. You were there caught in mortar fire, you became dirt. The only way to put it, it's something you have to be there to believe and see, that if a mortar goes off beside you, a shell, the person goes up in the air. I only seen that once. It was like, it'll leave an impression on you.
Over the decades, what's one piece of advice or life lessons from your time in service that you still carry with you today?
I honestly believe they should bring back the draft today, because I think kids today need perspective on what they really have. I think the draft would do it.
There's a local story about you finding lighter side of faith involving a returned Zippo lighter.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
I found that in Vietnam, and on the lighter was the guy's name. And I had it for 50 years, And in the group that I'm with, that I go to every 2 years, they had an article. We get a newsletter about every 6 months. And the newsletter was Chris's name. And as soon as I read his name, I went, my God. I went upstairs, got the lighter out of my drawer. It's still in good shape. And we got in touch because I had to dress for Chris then, Chris was no longer alive. Like I said, it was his obituary, in our newsletter. So we got in touch with his wife, and him and his wife wrote back back and forth, and I said, told Jen, I said, she has to get her husband's lighter. And we sent her his lighter, okay, for his keepsake, okay, for his time in Vietnam. It was a nice Zippo lighter, but I also, okay, she tried to get an article in the paper down there, and they wouldn't print the article, okay. They said the lighter looked too good. Well, for 50 years, it's been in my drawer, my keepsake. It hasn't been out in the weather. And it was in decent shape. Brand new? No. It had scars for being in the dirt and stuff like that, but I didn't let it stay dirty. But they wouldn't run the article because it was too nice, and they didn't.
How did he have his name on it?
Okay. It's in the article, okay, I wrote in the paper, okay. I can't remember his name right now. Like I said,
Chris.
he was not in, Chris, but his last name was on it too, okay. But anyhow, he was in the sister company. I'm thinking, okay, Chris was in Charlie Company, not Delta Company. I was in Delta Company. But just with the article being in the paper, but again, I say this constantly, and people don't understand. God works in strange ways. After 50 years, I found out who this gentleman was on the lighter, made the connection, got his wife a memorabilia of her husband after 50 years. That's pretty amazing.
How old were you when you went into the service?
Oh, boy. I'm thinking 21 or 22 there.
So a little bit later. Okay. Looking back, how has the public perception of Vietnam veterans changed from the 70s to now? Like in the 70s, you kind of not looked on real good by a lot of people. Has it improved? Or the Vietnam?
I will go with what I said before. The VA has made some strides forward, okay, and I'm appreciative of that. Like I said, the VA takes care of everything right now for me.
Good.
They do. Medicines, everything, okay. Back then, okay, like I said, not much, okay. So.
Well, what would you want people, especially younger listeners, to understand about the Vietnam War and the men who served in it?
They were amazing people, but they were still just like the person next door, okay? And they still went and lost their life for what we've got today. And that would be my answer. So,
If you could say one thing to your younger self heading off to service, what would it be?
that Vietnam made me a better person because of what I had to do. And I got a better perspective on life. As I learned, and I've seen it happen over and over again, God don't promise you tomorrow. So do what you can today, because you might not be able to do it tomorrow.
Every day is a gift.
Amen.
Is there anything else about your story or your comrades or your work with veterans in the Bethlehem that you'd like to share?
The veterans in New Bethlehem, and I speak for the Legion, we have an amazing Legion in New Bethlehem. I would like to have more people get involved, because as you're looking here at me right now, I'm not 10 years old. The Legion's going to dissolve, okay, years down the road because of younger people who are not stepping up and going, why don't I get in the Legion? But they don't. I wish they would, because it's an amazing organization and will help you through life. If you have a problem, it's there for you to use.
Do you feel moved in sharing your left or right story?
I could share your stories, but I'd rather let them in the back of my head.
All right. What's one thing most civilians misunderstood about the Vietnam veterans?
We weren't baby killers there,
Good.
okay?
How has being part of the Bethlehem veteran community helped you and others heal or stay connected?
The Legion gives you someplace to go and to talk and to see how other people in their service lived. It'll give you a better perspective on maybe what you'd want to do with your life. Because there is a life, okay, in the service.
Are there any local veterans stories from your area that deserve more attention?
There probably is, but that will be up to the veteran himself, okay? He knows what he can say and what he can't say. Everybody don't want to talk about it because I have friends of mine that I haven't seen since Vietnam. And I've asked gentlemen in other companies who grew up with these people, why haven't they been there for me to talk to? And their answer is, they will never come to a reunion. They don't want to be anything involved with Vietnam. They forgot about it. They put it in the back of their head, and that's where it's going to stay. And my close friends I'll never see again.
My father was in World War II, and he also didn't want to talk about it.
Hey, there's
So it was just,
there's things that you don't want to. All right, you'd rather let it in the back of your head. And like I said, the reunions are fantastic, but I've only met one person that I knew all the time I'm going to reunions. Because the rest of my guys in my platoon won't come. It's a bad experience, and why go back, okay, and do what we had to do and get treated the way we got treated?
So once again, this is Bob's Truth Seekers with Glenn Neiswonger. I really appreciate you
Thank you,
sharing
Bob.
what you could.
Hey, I appreciate it too.
Thank you very much.
Hey,